All right, today we're going to start talking about all the different places that we are going to see percents. So we've talked about them in previous lessons. A couple things we haven't talked about. We've talked about discounts, we've talked about sales price and retail stores, we've talked about tips in restaurants. We know that tips, we always have to leave at least 15%. We've talked about the sales price is the original price minus the discount. We know that the discount is the money off, which is like the money we're saving. Okay? Sales tax we haven't really talked about, but sales tax is, in New Jersey, we're charged 7% sales tax on anything you buy. So that means that if you buy something for $20, you're charged 7% of that $20. So 7% of that $20 would be $1.40. So instead of just paying $20, you're paying now $21.40. So sales tax, we actually kind of counts against us. So we have to actually pay more for things. So that's what sales tax is. Sales tax is 7% in New Jersey, and it's all different percentages for different states. Pennsylvania is 6%, New York is 9%. So obviously you want to go to Pennsylvania to buy certain things because you're charged less, so you're not paying as much. Okay? So commission is something new that we're going to talk about, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. Let's first talk about sales tax. Let's look at our first example. The price of a bike is $160. The sales tax is 7%. How much will you pay for the bike? So that means you're charged 7% on the $160. So turn 7% into 0.07. 7% of the $160. And some of you can definitely do this as mental math. Find 1%, which is 1.6, or $1.60, and times it by 7. Or again, you can have a calculator while you do this. So this comes to $11.20 is the sales tax. That's not how much you're spending on the bike. The sales tax is just $11.20. So how much do you actually pay for the bike? You have to add the $160, which is what the bike costs, to the sales tax. So then that would be, the total for the bike would be $171.20 is what you pay for the bike. So you're paying an extra $11.20 in sales tax. And the reason why it's so high is because you're taking 7% of a good amount of money, $160. So that's how you find sales tax. So let's look at another example here. Find the cost for a $190 purchase if sales tax is 5.5%. So again, you want to find 5.5% of the $190. Remember to move the decimal twice. This represents 5.5% of $190. Let me put that on your calculator. And we get the sales tax is $10.45. When you add that to the $190, which is your purchase, your total purchase is $200.45. So let's just stay on this for 1 second. If you're paying 5.5% more, let's try to figure this out a different way. Instead of finding the sales tax and then adding it on to the purchase, let's just find out how much we're going to pay right off the bat with one step. So you know that you're definitely paying $190, which $190 is 100%. So you're definitely paying all of that. But you also know that you're paying 5.5% more, because 5.5% is the sales tax. So you're paying an extra 5.5%. So you're actually paying 105.5%. You're paying 105.5% of the $190. $190 is 100%, and you're paying an extra 5.5%. So you're paying 105.5%. So move the decimal. You have 1.055 times 190. Put that into your calculator. And that's going to tell you in one step that you're paying $200.45. So there's two ways that you could do this. You could find the sales tax and then add it on to the original purchase, or you could find out the percentage that you're paying, which is 105.5%, because you're paying extra, because you're paying sales tax. Okay, so let's move on now to tips. Hold on a second. Lock that in. Okay. So you know that tips, you should be leaving at least 15%. Depending on the waiter or waitress, you may want to leave 20%, you may want to leave 10%, and you're leaving a percentage of your total bill. And as you can see in my example, my total bill is $21.42, and it says to estimate. Most people aren't going to leave a tip with change. Most people just are going to leave a tip with dollar bills. Okay? So what can we do to this total amount to make it easier for ourselves to estimate? Okay? Some people would round this up, some people would round it down. Okay? I'm just going to change this number and I'm going to say it's about $20. Okay? So my total bill is about $20. If I want to estimate a 20% tip, I'm going to use mental math and say that 10% is $2. To find 20%, I just multiply it by 2, and I'm going to leave about $4. So $4 is about 20%. Okay? It's a little bit less since obviously we rounded the total bill down to $20. You could say it's $21, but then when you do that, 10% is going to be $2.10. Times it by 2 for 20%, right, is $4.20. You can do that, but again, most people aren't going to leave change. So that's why you always want to estimate where you have the zero on the end. Some people may round this up to $30 if they really like the waiter or waitress and say 10% is $3. So 20% would be $6. Some people would do that. That's obviously a personal preference, depending on how much you want to leave. Okay. Next thing we want to talk about is commission. Okay? Now, commission is probably something that you haven't heard of. Commission is a percentage of your sales. This is something when some people's jobs, they don't make a salary, they make a commission, where the more they sell, the more money they make. They get a percentage of your sales. For example, some people will make 3%, oops, hold on, let me erase that. Some people will make 3% of their sales. So obviously the way that you make more money is if you sell more. Okay? If for car dealerships, people that are selling cars, the more cars they sell, the more money they make. They make a percentage of their sales. So that's what commission is. So let's look at our first example. Find the commission on a $500 sale with a rate of 12.5%. So you're going to get 12.5% of $500, which is a pretty good amount. So again, we want to change the decimal, change it to a decimal. 12.5% of $500. And $500 isn't a lot of money, but 12.5% is a pretty good percentage. So that is $62.50. So you're going to make $62.50 when you sell $500. Let's look at our next example. A sales agent earns a weekly salary of $650 plus, key word here, plus a commission of 4% on all his sales. His sales this week are $1,250. How much does he earn? Okay, so let's think about this for a second. He earns a weekly salary of $650. So that means he automatically gets $650 plus a commission of 4% on all sales. Well, he sold $1,250. So how much does he make then? 4% of his sales. So let's figure that out. And again, some people could do that mentally. If not, you could use your calculator. So he's making an extra $50. So not only is he making a weekly $650, he's making an extra $50 because he earns 4% commission. So for that week, he earned $700. So if he didn't sell anything, he would have only made $650. If he sold more, like let's just say he sold $2,000 worth of whatever he was selling, he would earn much more than $50. So the more he sells, the more money he's going to make. And that's what commission is.